In this video, we are going to discuss about types of variables and methods in Python programming. Python mainly supports three types of variables and three types of methods. The variables supported by Python are instance variables, static variables, local variables. And we have three types of methods are there in Python: instance methods, static methods, class methods. First, let us discuss about instance variable. So what is a instance variable? Instance variable means if the value of the object changes from one object to another object, then we can make use of the instance variable. Let us see this example. Here name of the class is student. Here we have a constructor. Constructor accepts three parameters: self, roll number, name. So self is compulsory. So we need to pass roll number and the name. And here we have a statement: self dot roll number is equal to roll number. This statement is called as, this is called as instance variable. Self dot roll number is called as instance variable. Instance variables are always accessed by using self. Here this roll number and name is nothing but argument of the method. So these are called as local variables. We will discuss that in the local variable concept. So how to access the instance variable? Instance variables are always accessed using self keyword. In place of self, we can use some other keyword also. There is no problem. So self dot roll number, self dot name. So this is nothing but some display method. This is also instance method. So here also self dot roll number is instance variable. Self dot name is instance variable. So let us see the program. S1 is equal to student of 72 comma Ramesh. S1 is the object. Let us see S2 object. S2 object content is 73 comma Mahesh. Here when we can use instance variable, if the value of the variable changes from one object to another object. Here the first object roll number is 72. Second object roll number is 73. So the value of the variable changes from one object to another object. So in this occasion we have to use the instance variable. Next, the value, if we consider the name of the first object is Ramesh, name of the second object is Mahesh. So the name changes from first object to second object. In this occasion we have to use the instance variable. So what is the need of instance variable? If the value of the variable changes from one object to another object, then we can make use of the instance variable. And how to access the instance variable? We can instance variables are accessed in a constructor or in a method. So they are accessed by using the self keyword. Okay. So what is the output of this program? What is the first object content? 72 Ramesh. So S1 is equal to student of 72 comma Ramesh. So whenever an object is created, automatically constructor will be invoked. So this is the constructor. 72 will be passed to the roll number. Ramesh will be passed to the name. So self dot roll number is equal to 72. Self dot name is equal to Mahesh. So first object information is 72 Mahesh. S1 dot display. So control goes to the display function. So now self dot roll number and self dot name will get displayed. So what is the output now? We will get output as 72 Ramesh, 72 space Ramesh. In the second line 73 space Mahesh. We will get an output like this. Now let us see about instance method. What is the purpose of the instance method? Instance method is mainly useful in order to access the instance variable. So that's why here in instance method we must pass self as the argument. In place of self we can pass some other argument also, but it should contain one argument, self. Okay. So this is the instance method. Okay. Instance method is useful in order to access the instance variable. Self dot roll number, this is instance variable. Self dot name, this is instance variable. Roll number and name are nothing but instance variable. So that's why we are accessing them with the help of the self keyword. And one more important point is instance method is also useful in order to access the static variable. So by using instance method we can access static variable also. How we can access the instance method? Instance method is always accessed by using object s1 dot display, s2 dot display. Why? Because instance variable is called as object level variable and instance method is called as object level method. Object level method. Why? Because each object has its own copy of the variable. Here S1 object contains its own copy of the data, 72 Ramesh. S2 object contains its own copy, 73 Mahesh. Each object contains its own data. So that's why we must use an object in order to access the instance method. Now let us see the next one. The next one is static variable. What is a static variable? If the value of the variable is same for all the objects, then we have to use the static variable. So static variable means common variable, shared variable. All the objects of the class will make use of that variable. Here let we have 100 students in this program. Let all the 100 students are belonging to the same university. So university is same for all the objects. In that occasion, we have to declare that variable as static variable so that all the objects can perform operation on that variable. If one object modifies that data, that information will be reflected to remaining all other objects also. Okay. So where we have to declare the static variable. Static variables are also declared inside a class only, but outside constructor and methods. Generally, static variables are declared on top of the constructor and methods. Okay. Here, let name of the static variable is university, UNIV is equal to, let university name is XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. So now all the objects of the class can access university. So UNIV is equal to XYZ. Now let's see how to access the static variable. Here static variables are associated with class rather than object. Why? Because the complete class, all the objects of the class can access that variable. So that's why we can say that static method is called as, we can call this method as class level method also. Why? Because all the objects can perform operation on that variable, and this static variable can also be called as class level variable. Class level variable. Why? Because in the entire class we can make use of that variable. Okay. Now let's see how to access the static variable. In order to access the static variable, we have to use the class name instead of object. Instead of object, let us display that information here. So print of what is the name of the static variable? University. And what is the name of the class? Student. So print of student dot UNIV. Student dot UNIV. So class name dot static variable. So this is about what is a static variable. Okay. So what is the output for this program now? So whenever we call this method s1.display, now then what will happen? First roll number 72 printed, next name Ramesh will be printed, and after that what is the name of the university? XYZ. So XYZ will be printed, and after that whenever S2 object is created, after that we call display method. Then roll number is 73, name is Mahesh. What is student.university? What is the university name? XYZ. So XYZ will be printed. The university is same for all the objects. So this is about static variable. Now let us see about static method. What is the use of a static method? By using static method, we can access only static variable. By using static method, it is not possible to access the instance variable. Whereas by using instance method, we can access instance variable as well as static variable also. By using instance method, we can access, this is instance variable, this is static variable. Whereas by using static method, we can access only static variable. Now let us define the static method here. Here, in order to define the static method, we have to use a decorator called @static method. This is called as decorator, symbol, decorator, static method decorator. Now let us define the static method. Def, let name of the static method is show. Static method doesn't accept any parameter. Here self is not needed. So that's why in static method it is not possible to access the instance variable. Why? Because we know that instance variables are accessed by using the self. But here self is not there. So there is no need of self here. Static method means we must write @static method on top of this declaration. Next, here what is the name of the class? Student. So student dot UNIV is equal to, let name of the university is some JNTU. Let us print that data. So print of student.university. So by using static method, we can access mainly static variables. Okay. So print of student.university. Now let us call that static method. How to call the static method? Just like the static variable only. Class name dot method name. So here what is the name of the class? Student. So student dot, what is the name of the method? Show. Student dot show. So whenever the statement is executed, control goes to the show method. Now what is the university value? Previously university value is XYZ, but now it is changed to the JNTU. So print of student.university means JNTU. Here if you want, we can perform initialization in constructor also. Like, so how to access the static variable? Student.university is equal to, let the value is some ABC. So we can do the initialization here also, okay? But we must use the class name in order to access the static variable. Let us put the statement in the comments. If you want, we can use this statement also. So this is about static method. Now let us see the last type of variable, that is local variable. What is local variable? Local variable means the variables which are declared inside a function, inside a method. So in this program, this roll number and name is nothing but, in this function, in this constructor, this roll number and name is nothing but local variable. So we can make use of this roll number and name inside this constructor only. Okay. So this roll number is nothing but local variable. This name is nothing but local variable. Local variables are always useful for temporary calculations. Okay. If we want, we can declare a local variable. A is equal to 10. So this is the local variable. Whenever we declare a variable inside a method, this is called as local variable. We can access the local variable directly by using the variable name. There is no need of any object. Here this self is not needed. Self.roll number, that is not needed. Why? Because this is a local variable. This name is also a local variable. What does this roll number and name contain? For the first object, roll number is 72, name is Mahesh. For the second object, roll number is 73, name is Mahesh. Okay. So these local variables are useful for temporary calculations, for temporary storage. We use just the local variable. So we can access this variable directly. There is no need of any object. Now let us see about the last one, that is class method. So what is a class method? Class method is mainly useful in order to access class level variable. So just like the static method, by using class method also we can access the class level variable. But the way of accessing is different. So let us see that. So class method means we must use the decorator @class method. @class method. Next, def. Let name of the class method is C method. Def C method. Class method means we must pass an object as the argument. CLS stands for class level object. So whenever a class is declared, here the class is student. For the entire class, an object is created. So that object is nothing but CLS, class level object. Okay, the student class object. In place of CLS, we can use some other name also. There is no problem. Okay, we can use Ramesh, Naresh, self. We can use any other argument. So the CLS means what? Class level object. Now we can access this class level variable with the help of the CLS. Okay, so CLS dot, what is the class level variable here? What is the static variable? University. So CLS dot university is equal to, let name of the university is Oxford. Next to print of CLS dot university. Here class method means we must use the decorator @class method, and it should accept a class level object as the argument. Now we must use this class level object in order to access the static variable. Whereas static method means it doesn't contain any argument here. Okay, it doesn't contain any argument. In order to access, we use the class name. But here we have to use the class level object. And the way of calling the class method is also similar to the static method only. Class name dot method name. What is the name of the class? So student dot, what is the name of the method here? C method. Student dot C method. There is no need to pass any argument. So whenever the statement is executed, control goes to the C method. So now university changed to the Oxford. Print of CLS dot university means we will get the message as Oxford. So this is about instance variable, static variable, local variable, instance method, static method, class method. So I will revise once regarding what is the use of each and everything. So what is the use of instance variable? When we can use instance variable? If the value of the variable changes from one object to another object, we use as the instance variable. How to access the instance variable? By using the self word, self keyword, self dot roll number, self dot name, likewise. Okay. Next, what is instance method? Instance method is mainly useful in order to perform operation on instance variable and static variable. Instance variable and static variable. How to call the instance method? By using object dot that method name. Now what is static variable? Static variable means if the value of the variable is fixed for all the objects. That means if all the objects of the class wants to perform operation on a single variable, on a shared variable, then we have to go for the static variable. Where we have to declare the static variable? Inside a class only, but outside the constructor and all the methods. Generally static variable is declared on top of the constructor and the method. Next, how to access the static variable? By using class name dot that variable name. Next, what is the purpose of static method? Static method is mainly useful in order to access the static variable. We can't access instance variable in the static method. So static method means we must use the decorator @static method, and it should not contain any argument. How to call the static method? By using class name dot method. By using class name dot that static method. Next, what is local variable? Local variable means the variables which are declared inside a function. They are useful for temporary calculations. We can access the local variable directly by using the variable name. There is no need of any object like self. Next, what is the use of class method? The functionality of the class method is also similar to the static method only. It is also useful in order to access the class level variable such as static variable. But here static class method means we must use the decorator @class method, and here the argument is class level object. Class level object. Now in order to access the static variable such as class level variable, we must use this class object. How to call the class method? By using class name dot that method name. Now let us see the practical implementation. Now let us see the program execution. So class, let name of the class is student. First define the constructor def space underscore underscore init underscore underscore of. We must pass selfie as the parameter. Let the remaining parameters are roll number and name. Here roll number and name are nothing but local variables. Function, the variables which are declared in a function, they are local variable. Here the function is nothing but that constructor. Now self dot RNO. This is called as instance variable. Instance variables are accessed by using self keyword. Next, self dot name is equal to name. So right hand side variables are local variables. Left hand side is nothing but instance variable. Let us define the function in order to display the data. So def display of self. Let us display the data. Print of self dot roll number comma self dot name. Now let us here this method is what? Instance method. Why? Because this method contains self. Instance method is mainly useful in order to access the instance variable. So roll number and name are instance variables. Now let us create two objects. So S1 is equal to student of. Let the first object roll number is 72. Name is some Ramesh. So first object content is 72 Ramesh. Let us call the display method. So we can call the instance method with the help of the object. Now let us have the second object. S2 is equal to student of. Let the roll number is 73. Name is Mahesh. So second object content is 73 Mahesh. Now let us call the display function. S2 dot display. Now let us run the program. So here we got an error. STDNT. So some spelling mistake is there. STU. Let us run the program. So 72 Ramesh, 73 Mahesh. So we got the output. Now let us do the initialization. Okay. Now let us see about static variable. So how to declare a static variable? It is declared inside a class and on top of all the methods. Let the static variable is university is equal to, let name of the university is XYZ. XYZ. University is equal to XYZ. XYZ. Now let us display the data here. So print off. So how to print off? How to access the static variable? By using the class name. So student dot, and what is the static variable? XYZ. So print off student dot XYZ. Now what will happen? Whenever we call the display method, then university XYZ will be printed, and whenever we call s2 dot display method, then also university XYZ will get printed. So here also there is some mistake. So object has no attribute XYZ. Object has no attribute XYZ. So student dot, I'm sorry. Here what is the name of the static variable? UNIV. UNIV. So run the program. So 72 Ramesh XYZ. So static variable is common for all the objects. 73 Mahesh XYZ. If we want, we can change that content inside the constructor also. So student dot UNIV is equal to, let us change to some ABC. Let us change to ABC. Now what will happen? Initially static variable contains XYZ, and whenever this object is created, then the constructor will get executed. So university will be changed to now ABC. ABC. Now if we display university, then ABC will get displayed. In place of XYZ, now ABC will get printed. So now in place of ABC, in place of XYZ, ABC got printed. So this is about static variable. Now let us see about the static method. So we have to use the decorator @static method, @static method. So def, let name of the static method is show. So def show off. Static method doesn't accept self as the parameter. What is the use of static method? It is mainly useful in order to access the static variable. By using static method, we can't access the instance variable. Okay. So student dot, now let us change the value. So student dot university is equal to, let us change the university to some JNTU. Now let us display that value. So print off student dot UNIV. So this is about static method. Static method means we have to use @static method decorator. It should not contain self. Now we have to call the static method. Static method can be called using what? Class name dot. What is the object name? Student dot. What is the object name? Show is the object. So student dot show. Control. Now let us run the program. So whenever we call the show method, then what will happen is we will get output as JNTU. So first what will happen? First 72 Ramesh, and after that ABC will be printed. 73 Mahesh, ABC will be printed. But in static method, we will get the message as JNTU. So we got the output as 72 Ramesh ABC, 73 Mahesh ABC, JNTU, some JU, NTU. So there is no problem. So this is about static method. Here in place of class name, we can use object also. There is no problem. Why? Because here we have only one class. Whereas if we have multiple classes, if we want to make use of this class data in some other class data, then we must use the class name. But here we have only one class, so we can use object also. So s1 dot object. Let us change the content so that you know whether that method was successfully called or not. We change it to JNTU. If you see here, we got output as JNTU. Here we have only one class, so that's why we can use the object. There is no problem. If we have multiple classes, then if we want to use that static variable in another class, then we must use that class name. Okay. Now let us see the class method. Class method is also useful in order to access the class level variable. Here we have to use the decorator @class method. Let us define the method def. Let name of the class method is C method. Here we must pass a class level object. Let that object is CLS. Instead of CLS, you can pass any value, there is no problem. Now, in order to access that class level variable, that is static variable, we must use that class level object. So CLS dot university is equal to, let name of the university is Oxford. Oxford. Now let us print the data. So print of CLS dot university. University. Now let us call the method. So we can also call the class method by using the class name. So what is the name of the class? Student dot what is the name of the method? C method. Student dot C method. Student dot C method. Now let us run the program. Let us run the program. So we got output as Oxford. So this is about static method and class method. And what is a local variable? This rule number and name is nothing but local variable. This data is nothing but local variable. If you want, you can name a variable like this. A is equal to 100. So this is local variable. Print of A. Print of A. Now 100 will get printed. Whenever we call the display function, then in addition to the data, 100 also will get printed. So let us see the output. So here we got 100. We can access the local variable directly. There is no need of any object. There is no need of self. So this is about different types of variables and different types of methods in Python programming.